Hey everyone, Matt here, obviously. So I've talked about Ether's Oath before on the podcast and how we've decided to partner with them so we can actually have a really good group of people just taking care of our merch. Hey Joe, hey Mackenzie, how did Ether's Oath get started?
I just kind of wanted to make like my own clothes, just at least shirts wise, because I have like too many shirts at home, so I wanted to like start being more picky with what I wore. But I definitely wanted to tap into like a music market for like people who are more rock and metal oriented, because I feel there aren't a ton of clothing lines that kind of go with that.
And when it comes to designs, Ether's Oath is definitely inspired by gothic, hardcore, tarot, and especially the metal genre as well. Looking at Ether's Oath merch, there's a lot of influence in this. And with that being said, how have your customers received and how have they felt about your product?
We've had a couple drops so far. In our initial one, everyone was really drawn to it. We dropped a tarot card of our face of Ether's Oath, which is Ether herself, and she's our Reaper. And people have really enjoyed it. We have gotten lots of feedback as far as what people would like to see, what type of merch for both men and women, and it's been really exciting so far. And a lot of people have been asking more about what we're having for the future and what's coming up.
With a big future ahead of you and a lot more plans coming through the pipeline coming into 2020, where could everyone go to get their own Ether's Oath branded merch?
If you want to do it online, you can go to ethersoath.com. It's AETHERSOATH.com. We have all of our products up there, from stickers, posters to shirts, and we're going to be at the Pancake Festival November 21st at a booth, and we have like a big ass banner, so you're not going to be able to miss us. And we'll have all of our stuff there as well.
Here to there, girls and gals, we decided to team up with Ether's Oath because they not only care about what they're doing and their products, but they care about the people that they take care of. That's why we love them. That's why we decided to partner with them. So please check out ethersoath.com today. Again, that is AETHERS oath.com. All right, thank you.
Hey everyone. So before we jump into today's episode, we have to give a thanks to our latest patron on our Patreon, Audriola. Thank you so much, Audriola, for coming on and choosing to support the show over on our Patreon. It means the world to us. Sorry Cody couldn't give a thanks as well on this one, but please know that it also means the world to him as well. This episode is dedicated to you and to your patronage. Thank you so much again, Audriola. And with that in mind, let's jump into today's episode. So last night I met up with Carson from Conspiracy Theater podcast, right?
Oh yeah.
And so I was talking to him about our plans for January and whatnot when we come back.
Yeah.
And as we were like closing up and we were closing up the tab, this fight broke out, right?
Yeah.
But like. That wasn't yeah, it's interesting, but it's like a bar. Like whenever does a fight not happen in a bar, right? Like it's nothing unheard of. So, but what happened prior to that is I saw this dude in this cowboy hat and his friends go one way, and I saw a dude in a hoodie come up on the opposite side of the bar, and they were just both kind of like, hey man, hey, and like right as they were saying hey, this really like flamboyant-ish like song came on, and so like I thought like it was a thing between them, like I thought it was a common joke.
Yeah,
like you know when like they're just being like overtly flamboyant with each other, joke around or something like that.
Yeah.
Like, hey man, hey, how's it going? Hey, like what's up, babe? Kind of, you know, like how dudes do.
Yeah.
Right? Like
yeah.
I just don't know how to like describe it with a simple word. Anyways. So, like, I thought they were just going to be like, oh, hey, what's up, babe? What's up? You know, and start, like, dancing or something. I thought it was going to be, like, a funny, like, bro thing. Like, I thought they knew each other. But I'm just like, hey, that's adorable. And then, like, they start fighting. I'm like, oh, no, this is serious.
Oh, I totally misjudged this situation here.
And, like, then they start getting to this huge fight. And there was this woman that was, like, sitting right there. And she, like, went right behind me and like Carson.
Yeah.
And like it was funny because I thought she was coming at me at first, so like I stepped back.
You were cocking your head like I will lay a bitch out.
well at first I didn't know, it was like a split second. I thought she was like it was like slight coming at me, and also like at the same time also like her just falling.
Yeah.
And so I was like getting ready to just like, I don't know, like try and catch her and react.
and I didn't realize she was getting up, and I felt really embarrassed. And so like what I did to try to like save my stance and like is just kind of like cross my legs and put my elbow on in the chair like a total douchebag. I'm just like, this is how I meant this. As this fight's breaking down and like I'm trying to like I don't know, like I just felt like this need to be super manly all of a sudden and just be like, I am the wall.
No, I'm tough. Look, see?
I was like, bro, I've been to a lot of death metal mosh pits, okay?
Yeah,
like,
yeah, come on, look at me.
Bro. You're wearing a cowboy hat. You've only been to country shows. You don't even know.
You don't even get it.
You don't even know, man. You have never been to a Slaughter to Prevail show.
Have you ever seen a man bite the head off of a live animal on stage?
I have. I was the man.
I was also that animal.
At the same time. That's what's going on here. And I'm just like, I'm such a fucking douchebag. And then like, but like, I feel like I've come a long way with my self-esteem to the fact where I was able to walk away in that second and still like shamelessly plug the podcast after asking her how she was doing.
Hey, are you okay? Yeah, I'm alright. I'm
You
fine.
know what would make you feel better? Listen to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast.
You listen to our podcast.
I didn't actually say that. That's not how I plug it at all.
Oh my god, that's
like,
so funny. That's how you said it too. Like, I really hope that Carson like sends us like a message. You're like, no, Matt was fucking lying. That's exactly what he did. He's like, are you okay? Oh my god, is everything all right with you? And she goes, oh yeah, I'm fine. And you're like, do you need anything? I mean, a glass of water. You know what would go great with that glass of water and make you feel better is if you listen to my podcast, the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. We're fucking great. All right, it'll put a smile on your face. You'll feel better about tonight.
like, that's your insurance's life. The podcast. That'll fix everything in your life. I mean, I did like genuinely ask her like if she was okay. Like I made sure she was fine.
Well, yeah,
but
that's
like,
what I mean.
like afterwards, I realized I was like, I like how I made sure everyone was safe before I plugged my own show. But you know what I did? But I also plugged Carson's show. I also plugged Conspiracy Theater for him. like, and then like he like
I was like partner. No, this is another great. He's a different podcaster, but he also runs a fantastic podcast called Conspiracy Theater Podcast. Well, a pretty great podcast.
Here's the thing, man. Like, I was staring at him. I was like, oh, dude. I thought he was like being shy.
Yeah.
And I was like, why don't you talk about it? You know. And I was like, here, I'll bring it up for him and help him out. And then I kind of realized, like, after we left, I'm just like, I think you read the room better than I did.
Carson's probably like, yeah, you just shot both our podcasts in the foot, thank you. Like, everyone's traumatized over there, and you're like, oh, you okay? Hey, listen to our podcast. Hey, are you okay? Like, if there was someone that would look... Anybody who would look like, you know, they might be borderline sociopathic, it'd be the person walking around the bar after there's this giant slugfest. Everyone's all shooken up like, oh my goodness. And you're like, oh man, hey, how you doing? Listen to my podcast. Hey, how you doing? Listen to that fight. Oh, I've seen terrible. Didn't you hear my story about how I was the man who bit the head off a wild animal who happened to be that animal at the same time? You know what's funny? You know why I didn't register it? Why? It's because I told Carson we were in the bar afterwards. I was like, I'll tell you one thing. I'll tell you something I've learned about punk shows. Either one, when a fight happens afterwards, you don't make eye contact with anyone, and if it does happen, just hope you don't get pulled in. It's what I felt, and I just kind of realized, like, I think I have a desensitization now to these things. No, that you're so sensitized to it is that's how you avoid getting pulled into the arguments. Is you just start plugging in your own shit. Yeah. So it's all one of those like subconscious things where it's like if I start talking about my own things, they'll be like, oh. I don't want to deal with this right now. So you just think of the last thing you were talking about and just keep talking about it. Like over and over and over again. So everyone's like, okay, stop talking to the weird guy talking about his podcast in that corner. And you're like talking to the corner like, yeah, it's a great podcast. You're a great podcaster. Like,
I saved the night. I saved the room. I'm going to take it as I brought the energy back up in the room.
Well, that's good. That's good.
And welcome back to the Punk Rock Horror Podcast. I'm Matt.
I'm Cody.
And that was the longest cold open I've ever done, and it's the last one for the year.
Yeah.
And today we're here to remind you to just take care of each other this holiday season. We're not gonna see you guys for a whole month. Well, I guess we never really see
You won't hear our beautiful voices for a month.
You won't be hearing our voices for a month. So just take care of each other. Be nice.
Yeah.
Be patient with each other.
Yeah.
Buy each other nice gifts, or don't. I don't know what you celebrate.
Your presence is a good enough gift.
Your presence is the present.
See what we did there?
You like that? That's
Yeah.
a quote. We're gonna stitch that on a quilt. We're gonna market that towards a lot of moms.
God,
it's
you know
gonna
what?
sell like hotcakes.
I hope like some angry grandma actually has that stitched on her quilt, and it's like it's the family quilt she won't let anyone see or touch until she's dead, and so it's gonna she's gonna die on Christmas Eve, and this is how bitter she is towards everyone. She's gonna die on Christmas Eve, and then on Christmas Day, it's gonna say in her will make sure my family gets it on Christmas Day. And then they're finally going to see the family quilt that she's been stitching for years. And it's just a goddamn portrait of herself. And it says, "My presence was my present, bitches."
You're welcome.
Yeah. Now who's the present? Yeah.
You bitches.
That'd be the greatest thing. Oh my god. I'm going to learn how to make a quilt just to do that.
So you can go down here?
Yeah.
You leeches.
Hey, you thought you were getting my estate? This is my estate. And in reality, it truly is. I'm going to have all the money cashed out, and it's just going to be lined inside the quilt.
And inside, is going to be you're going to also include a photo of a S, a couple S's with a plus sign next to a picture of your Tate.
Yeah.
Here's my estate. Just really fucking rub it in.
Yeah. Oh my god.
What are they gonna do? Kill you?
I know, I'm already dead. No, the best thing too, I'd have that one grandkid who would be fucking knew it. Granddad's great.
Best granddad ever.
Everyone else is gonna be all pissed off. I could see Dev just being I can't believe he fucking did it. He actually did that.
And then the second part of the video pops. Well, to everyone who got offended, guess what? You lost out.
Yep.
Little Jimmy, I knew you would appreciate it.
Yep.
You now get my whole actual estate.
Yeah, no. I would be make sure to open the quilt when no one's around. And everybody what do you mean open the quilt? It's a goddamn quilt. And he'll be the one I got you, Granddad. And then he's going to open it. It's going to be the title to everything that I own. He's going to be I got him. You have to share it, but only after you play the sirens once you get there. You call the family dinner on Thanksgiving at the estate, and then you have to play the sirens. And all the sirens is going to be is beer, beer, beer. It's going to be a whole year-long thing. It's really? He pulled a year-long prank like this? It's you'll never forget your granddad.
The adventure was the riching part.
Yeah.
That was the real royalty.
Yeah. Oh my god, that'd be great.
That would be the best death ever.
I know.
Hashtag you dead or you dead.
Dead or dead. Better dead than dead.
Better dead than dead. When they say go out in a blaze of glory, I mean, they mean it.
I know. The greatest thing is there'd only be 2 people in on it. It'd be the lawyer who's reading off the will, and he's gonna be God damn it, I have to be a part of this family for another fucking year. And then, more likely the grandkid who figured it out because they are my favorite. And then just gonna sit there and they're gonna tease it too throughout the entire year. Be like, I said my granddad, you don't know. And they're like, shut the fuck up, Jimmy. All right, we fucking get it. You got something cool. Yeah, you got the goddamn quilt with his face on it. Great for you. And they're there's gonna be that other, the other cousin who's super jealous and has to get in on it. He's like, what's in the fucking quilt? And he's like, you'll never know. He's gonna make a secondary quilt that's looks just the same as a decoy quilt because the cousin's gonna get so obsessed and cut it open and be this big thing. He's gonna cry. And I can't believe you did this to my quilt, you son of a bitch. And they're not gonna talk until that family reunion. And it's just gonna bear, bear, bear. And he's gonna get in his face. He's like, I gave you a fake quilt, bitch.
Oh man, that's awesome.
That'd be great. We're gonna have to do it now.
We're gonna get working out. That's what we're gonna dedicate all of December to now. We're just working out that contingency. But speaking of things of love and hate, we should probably jump on to the things we love and hate.
Yes, we should.
So this is a segment called Everything You Love and Hate. If you're new to the show, what we do is we pick something that we love and hate that's happened the past day, week, or month that we want to talk about in around the world around us, and how we take it in, just put our own perspective on it.
Yeah.
So, I'm pretty positive I went last time, so you go ahead this time, big guy.
Okay. Thing I love is actually the new Pokemon. It's pretty solid. I've been really enjoying that. I got a couple new Switch games, which was kind of nice because I got Pokemon in this really badass mech game where I have been wanting to play a mech game in a really long time, and it's exactly what I wanted. It's basically Monster Hunter but with mechs. So you start fighting giant Godzilla-sized mechs, and then you scavenge their robotic bodies for armor and weapons and stuff.
Yeah.
And then the new Pokemon's pretty solid. I'm enjoying it. I don't see why a lot of people were getting all pissy about it.
It's mainly because it didn't include every single Pokemon. Because they excluded some.
I understand. They excluded Squirtle, man. I'm really upset with that. It's
and Bulbasaur.
And Bulbasaur. It's oh, fucking Charmander, just because of Charizard, you can go fuck yourself. But it's just I do understand that, but at the same time, it's a solid Pokemon game, and they did a lot for this game. And honestly, it's the new Pokemon I think are actually fairly solid looking, because I know that was kind of lacking. I mean, I think Sun and Moon had I thought the new Pokemon looked pretty dope, but I know the new Pokemon designs are always everyone's always these are the worst. I think they're pretty great this time around.
Yeah.
So, and I also kind of like the fact that Meowth is the new Eevee type thing, where Meowth has a different variation now for every Pokemon game. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, no, I've just been enjoying playing my Switch games lately, so
nice.
It's been pretty nice, yeah. And then thing I hate, I guess, is all the talks for Joker 2. I get it. Joker is now the highest grossing comic book movie ever, and it's awesome, fucking great. But it's also one of those movies where it doesn't need a sequel. A sequel will definitely ruin this movie.
Yeah.
It'll, because the point of the ending is supposed to be ambiguous. I'm not gonna spoil anything, even though I'm fairly certain everyone has fucking seen it. But in the chance like I said, in the chance that someone who hasn't, I don't want to spoil anything, but the ending is very ambiguous, and it's because of the third act twist, because it happens right at the beginning of the third act, and you could kind of see it coming, but you definitely have to pay attention. They did a really good job of covering that twist up. But as you know, any origin story of the Joker is always saw in several different ways. I mean, he even says if he could have an origin story, it'd be multiple choice.
Yeah.
So they kind of do that in this movie too, but I just feel if they make a second one, it's definitely gonna ruin the mystique of this movie. Especially because there's a lot of talk about it being linking it to the DCEU.
Yeah.
and stuff, and the only way that would make sense of it being in the DCEU, which doesn't make sense already, but the only way it would be is like if it was an origin story, like a not even like it was an origin story for the Joker of the Joker.
Yeah.
Like this Joker wouldn't be the DCEU Joker. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like the time period is way off.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
But not just that. It's just also like it's a good game, like kind of like Taxi Driver-esque movie. Like if they made a Taxi Driver 2, like it'd be terrible. So I don't think they need to make a Joker 2. Just leave it alone.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man.
Yeah.
Like, I also like. I feel like I remember this one being like said that like it wasn't even supposed to connect to the DCU at all.
No, it's supposed to be a one-shot, like a one-shot comic storyline, like how the Killing Joke originally was a one-shot, but then they just incorporated it into the main canon. But like that's all it should be. It should just be a one-shot, one movie. Don't connect it, because it doesn't make sense if they connect it to the DCEU whatsoever.
Yeah, no, I feel you, man.
Like, you'll understand once you see it, like, how it would make no sense. Because it would make no fucking sense.
Because it just would not make sense.
No. And then they don't even need to make a new universe around this one. Just let it be its own thing. Like, DC, you do great when you do single movies.
Yeah.
You are terrible at connecting the universe because you want to force everything.
Yeah.
Just do your single out movies. You don't need to do origin stories anymore. And for the love of God, stop showing Martha and Thomas Wayne get shot. Like, we've all seen it in so many different variations.
It's kind of the same thing with like
Uncle Ben.
Yeah,
man.
Uncle
like,
Ben.
At least fucking
Getting
Marvel,
shot again.
Seriously. At least Marvel had the dignity of just having a quick reference to Uncle Ben, because everyone knows the Uncle Ben story by now. Like, goddamn.
Right.
So, just do single-out movies, because Joker was amazing. And then you can do your R-rated stuff. Like, then we could get a badass Deathstroke movie. We could get, like, a truly done Suicide Squad movie, possibly.
Yeah.
You know? Could finally get a Lobo movie. Maybe Black Adam will be just a single out too. That would be dope. You know why? Because Black Adam's a filthy, dirty badass.
Yeah.
Who murders people.
The future can be bright, and
Yes.
let's hope it is.
Pretty much. But
So-
what about you, Matt?
So what I hate this week is it's definitely a little bit better than how it was from like the last 2 weeks ago. Because I feel like I didn't really convey what I hated too well back then, but like I'm not gonna touch any more on it, just because it's dead. I mean, I use that time to vent about it, and I'm good about it.
Yeah.
But anyways, so what I hate this week is kind of like some of the criticisms that like It 2 and Doctor Sleep have gotten. Now, without trying to sound like a complete Stephen King biased diehard about it. I completely understand people's frustration with both not really being up to par with the scares, and then putting more story in. I know some people said that they felt like It 2 was way too much story, or it was just like an unbalanced amount, which I'll touch on that in a second. But honestly, man, like normally I would agree with these situations, except I'm choosing not to. Because like if it was like any other horror movie where it was like mostly story over scares, then like I would be upset about
Like
it.
Us and Get Out, those are mostly story over scares.
Well, I'm talking about like ones that are marketed for scares, like Insidious. Like if Insidious like went way over the boat with like with like the other side. I forget what I think is it called, The Other Side. I can't remember but if you've seen Insidious, where all the ghosts live that don't pass on.
The ghosts.
Those are the ghosts. Like, if it was mostly, like, story heavy, like, I would see the issues with it. And I know, and there's been, like, obvious examples of, like, when that is bad, i.e. the Saw series, because a lot of those movies were way too story, and it hurt them immensely. But, like...
No, I thought it was because there wasn't enough story.
I don't know, man. I feel like there was too much twists of story. Anyways, I'm not talking about Saw. So
I wanted more.
Coming back
More
to,
twists.
Coming back
it was
to
all
it.
the baby.
Coming back to it, man. Basically, what I'm talking about is like I feel Dr. Sleep and It are the type of stories where more story than scares do benefit it more, because I mean Stephen King as an author, he, when I was talking to Gwynny and Lala on the Punk Rock Half Hour Power, Gwynny made the point that like Stephen King's a very vivid writer, and the fact of the matter is that I agree with that, and the fact that they're bringing more in that narrative and that vividry to, vividry is not a word, but the imagery into the movies, I appreciate, because it, Pennywise does have a huge lore behind it, and it's I think really cool to experience it. And Doctor Sleep, it is also kind of in that same realm where it's a deep lore that you need to like kind of take in. And it's not like this is the first time that Stephen King has ever done something that wasn't deep lore and didn't do a good job at it. He's done it before with movies that aren't really horror based.
Well, yeah, Gerald's Game.
Yeah, like fucking.
Well, like, and the other thing I'll argue too about it is like you got to remember so. The Shining. The reason why it was more on scares is because it was with surrounding the kid, and then in Doctor Sleep he's an adult, so of course it's going to be more story oriented because he's an adult. Adults scare a lot harder, and that was like my biggest gripe about it Chapter 2, about the critiques about that. Yeah, because I was like, no, of course it's not going to be as scary. They're fucking adults.
Like, we'll take for example, probably one of the biggest successes that's not really horror is like Shawshank Redemption. The reason that movie is so great is because the story behind it. Now, I understand, like, I'm comparing a non-horror movie to horror movies. Well, but the way I'm tying it in here is that, like, these movies I feel like are better because they have mostly stories in them.
Yeah, and like the other thing too with Doctor Sleep, I didn't feel like they were advertising it as a jump scare heavy movie. Right. Like it definitely. To me, at least, it was definitely advertised as a more story.
Oh, it was definitely like movie. More in like a Twin Peaks type of vibe. Of
yeah, that's what I got. I never got like it was going to be super jump scary. I mean, shit, The Shining wasn't even super jump scary. Except the like one actual jump scare that happens is when he axes the guy. Yeah. When he hits him with the axe, because everything else, like it's a build to it, and then you see it like you watch it all unfold. Like it's not just
like obviously like the iconic scene with him tearing down the door and like blood in the hallway, stuff like that. Like but those imagery was like a little far scarce. It was spaced out throughout the movie. I don't know, man, but I feel like I'm going off on the wrong direction in that one. But point being is that like I just don't feel like it's really like good criticisms against the film. Like I think it stands out more for it. I think it was an awesome chance for horror to stand out as a good narrative of movies and not just always terrible, gory, in your face shock value. Yeah, and that's coming from someone who's a huge gore fiend and loves gore. Yeah. So
I mean, plus with horror now, it's like it's starting to get. I know, like this has been my biggest critique of Midsummer, but it's like been super like it. The horror's been a lot more story and like oriented and like artsy fartsy in a sense. You know what I mean? Like all of David Ayer, is he the guy who did Midsummer?
No, it's Ari Aster.
Ari Aster, yeah, Ari Aster. Like I mean, look at all his horror movies; they're all like super artsy. Yeah, you know what I mean. But they're great.
But and these movies can be used as like good examples that like. Horror can be taken seriously by modern media. And I know it's like we never really needed them before, but that's why we have this podcast, is to make that case for it. So I don't know. I just hate the criticisms. But the thing I love, man, is really simple. Is recently I reconnected with an old friend from high school, and me and my wife and our kid had a play date with her and her kids. And it was just went really well. Like our kids got along instantly, and like me and her and Lauren, we all get along really well. And so it's just like nice that we have like actual more kid friends, because besides like you and Audrey, like you guys and Audrey, like we don't really have many like parents that like Aaron can hang out with. Like I also have my friend Kelly and her daughter Kaida, and it's just like she's still an infant, and so it's like. hard to just find people that we can just hang out with, you know, that isn't immediate family.
Yeah, I get you.
And so, like, it was just kind of really nice, man, because, like, it was just kind of like a proud, like, parent thing at the moment, where I see my kid, like, creating games with other kids and just kind of, like, being part of something social. And it's just nice because, like, when I was a kid, I was extremely introverted, and, like, I only hung out with, like, 3 people at most when I was in my best moods. And it's just nice seeing my kid be awesome and open and social, and I just love the shit out of it.
Yeah.
So.
That's good.
But that's what I love. That's something we love. And hey, we definitely went a little longer than we normally did. But again, it's the last episode of the last movie review episode of the year, so we figured, you know, let's make it a good one. Let's talk about some good, interesting things and just kind of fill your ear holes with some info. With that being said, let's jump into our movie reviews. I went first as well last week, so now it's your turn.
Fine.
Do it.
Jesus.
Do it now.
God. Yeah, so I did mine on A Christmas Horror Story. Because, why would I do that? Because it also includes Krampus. So, of course, I'm going to fucking do a movie that also includes Krampus. So, yeah, honestly, I didn't have a whole lot of cons with this movie. I mean, I guess, like, my biggest con is everything that has to deal with Elijah Wood's sister. Yeah, sorry, I totally forgot to pull up the IMDb page, so I'm pulling that up as I talk about it.
Oh my god, Cody.
I know, I'm terrible.
Why?
Because it's 1 a.m.
Cody.
I know.
Excuses.
I know.
We're supposed to sacrifice our health. I'm joking. I have a very sweatshop mentality over here.
Yeah. Okay, cool. We'll just edit all that shit out.
No, I'm fucking keeping it.
Alright, fine.
I'll probably forget to edit it out.
A Christmas Horror Story came out in 2015. It's not rated. Its synopsis is interwoven stories that take place on Christmas Eve as told by one festive radio host. A family brings home more than a Christmas tree. A student documentary becomes a living nightmare. A Christmas spirit terrorizes, and Santa slays evil.
Evil.
So like my biggest con in this entire thing is the student documentary sections. Like, yeah, they're creepy and cool, but I just, for whatever reason, I couldn't get into them, and I feel like the thing that happens at the end was just terrible.
Terrible.
Yeah, I didn't like it, man.
Yeah, no, that was, I don't know, man.
It's
That
so
also
smart to
like
me.
had a weird feel to it. It just felt like a shoved in ghost story.
Yeah, but I got a feeling I know who it was talking about. I think it was like slowly hinting at what's her name? We were literally just talking about it earlier. The mother of the Yule kids.
Petra. Well, there's a movie about her called Mother Krampus. We just call her that.
Grilla.
Oh,
Yeah, Grilla.
it's Grilla. I thought it was Petra. My bad.
No, Grilla and her Yulvin snare, the Yule lads. But I think that's kind of like what the movie was hinting at, was that Griva.
Yeah.
But anyways, so back to the movie. That section. Another like pro that I have, one pro that I have for the movie is I like how they always take Christmas songs and make them like use alternate versions, whether it's like the heavy metal versions or the really creepy versions.
Yeah.
Of the songs, and I thought that was really cool. And then William Shatner is in this movie, and he's fucking amazing in this movie. I love him so much. He's just a super drunk radio host, and he's like trying to like talk about this disaster that's happening in the background of the movie.
Yeah.
And he's just getting drunker and drunker, and you can tell he's like you can't tell if he cares or doesn't care. It's just amazing.
Like I feel like at some point, he can't even tell if like the radio, like the recording is still even on, and he just keeps talking because he's drinking so much.
Yeah, I know. Basically, I feel like they told like here's just like the overarching script, and now just Shatner it up.
Yeah.
Like they let him just like talk about it all whenever he wanted.
Like here, like fill up a half hour.
Basically.
And we'll just take edits.
Yeah, basically. I also like how all the stories connected in the beginning. Like, they all had, like, you know, they showed the kids at the documentary, and then it showed a car drive by, and it goes inside the car, and it's one of the families you're gonna follow. And then they drive by a parked car, and that's another family you're going to follow, and you start following parts of the beginning of their story. So I thought that was kind of cool how they interconnected everything.
Yeah.
And then during the Krampus, one of the Krampus parts of the movies, or the stories, I love the fact they actually reference Krampusnacht, which is the holiday surrounding Krampus. And so I thought that was really cool because like even like movies about Krampus never actually talk about the Krampusnacht. Well, so like his celebration. So I think that's kind of cool that they put in that. And then, but the thing that pissed me off in the same scene is when several people tell you not to touch something, just don't fucking touch it. Like, come on.
Pretty straightforward.
Yeah, and like this kid, like 3 separate people told this kid not to touch this Krampus statue, and then he just keeps fucking touching it, and then he ends up breaking it, and then like causes like all the events to unfold. And it's like, come on, man, just fuck. And then so one of the other stories that I really like is they talk about the changelings, which if you were there for those who heard about and could have possibly made it. We told some scary stories, and I told earlier in October, and I told a story about a changeling. And so what changelings are basically are fairies, the children of fairies that aren't pretty enough to be fairies. And so fairies come to the mortal world and swap out their ugly child, which becomes a changeling, with the human child. And so they do a really good job with the lore and how the changeling acts through this movie, because like the only time he shows happiness is when there's like when the parents are fighting and arguing and stuff, and that's the only time it smiles. But anytime they're trying to show him love and affection, he's just like shut down, and it just slowly progresses into showing like the changeling becoming more and more erratic. So I thought that was really dope for this movie.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of awesome too, man. Like it's. I'm afraid to kind of add in because I don't want to like jump ahead of your review by accident. But like, I like how they did the changeling story too. But yeah, that I was gonna say though on the last one with the kid touching everything. Like I also kind of liked that was the scene as well, because they really dedicated the writing to make sure you hate that family.
Yeah, they did. They do a good job with you just hating the family, and they actually do a good job of you of having you hate the people you need to hate, but then also like turning it around on you, making you feel bad about it. Yeah. Like, especially with the Santa storyline. Oh, it's so good. The twist is just amazing. But like, but that's what I liked about it too, is because it made you hate the family because you were pissed off with the husband because you could tell he's just a lazy piece of shit. And then the wife is like the stereotypical trophy wife who shits on the husband because he doesn't give her as much money as she wants. And then the stuck-up daughter, who just wants to be a free bird and do drugs and have sex all the time. Right. And then the shithead son who feels like he's not getting enough attention from mommy and daddy, so he has to act out and burn things.
And obviously this is the story where, like, Krampus is hunting them down.
Yeah, and so Krampus ends up hunting them down. And, like, they do... The design of Krampus in this movie is fantastic. Like, it's super dope. And it's really cool. Like, he's all white and super stacked and buff and has, like, the evil goat face, like, demon face with the giant horns, and he has the goat legs and stuff. I just thought, like, their design of Krampus, because they made him look like a force to be reckoned with.
Yeah, I agree, man.
So I thought that was cool. Even though I kind of shit on the documentary story, one thing I did like about it, which I thought was funny, is they actually try to rationalize all the spooky things that are happening. Yeah. Like, they saw the principal earlier in the movie, and they're like, oh, it must be him. He's just derping around here. And then I also think they did a really good job in this movie with spacing out the escalations. So, like, because it shows, 10 minutes of this story, and then 10 minutes of the next story, and 10 minutes of the next story. Yeah. And I feel like they did a good job with how each story escalated, like how it got worse each time, but like it was really paced well. So I just think, like, especially for anthology movies, like, I know that's really, really hard to do. And it's also really hard for you to get, like, emotionally attached to the characters, whether it's, like, love or hate. And I think this movie did a really good all-around job about it. And then also, like I said, the twist at the end, like, for both, for two of the stories, I really liked. And they were fantastic. And, of course, it's both surrounding Krampus. But, like... The first time I watched this movie, the twist with Santa Claus got me so bad. I was like, what the shit? Like, it took me by surprise. I'm not going to talk about it because you need to go see it. It's a fantastic twist. Gore-wise, fantastic gore for all you gore blood lovers and everything. Especially all the scenes with Santa Claus also. Like, you literally get to see an elf get the back of its head cut off, and you see its brain, and it's still alive, so you see him running around with half a head, and it's so fucking great.
Oh, dude, it's a solid 5 out of 5.
Yeah, with the buckets of gore. So I like that, and I also like how it throws in some of the dark comedy aspects, because I like that it's not taking itself too seriously with the lore. And like how ridiculous, like, just... cryptids and lore, these lore stories are, but like how scary they can be too. So I think they do a really good job with balancing like scares and laughs. But yeah, so that's kind of like my critique about it. I definitely great movie to watch. It's free if you have Shudder. It might still be on Netflix. I don't know. I know that was where I've seen it before.
Yeah. It usually goes around Netflix pretty often.
Mm-hmm.
At least last I checked, it does.
Yeah. So just a couple trivia facts. The film takes place in the fictional town of Bailey Downs, which is where the Ginger Snaps film takes place, as well as the name of the suburb where the Allison clone in the Orphan Black 2013 television series takes place. This was intentional as the filmmakers were responsible for the Ginger Snaps film, and director John Fawcett is one of the creators of Orphan Black.
Huh.
So your favorite werewolf movie there, Matt?
No wonder I like this movie.
Yeah. During the closing credit, it is stated that no elves were harmed in the making of this film. That's actually a really good pun when you find out the twist. Retitled A Holiday Horror Story, for sale at some U.S. Walmart stores, but the title change was only made for the outside slip cover of copies and not the actual print of the film. That's pretty good.
I can't believe I never caught the Ginger Snap stuff.
Yeah.
Because I really do love that movie. Like, everybody needs to be watching that movie far more often and talking about it, just because it's a legitimately cool fucking werewolf movie.
Yeah. Oh, this is dope. So
Screw it, I'm talking about Ginger Snaps again.
Shatner's mug features a picture of Cuddle Cat from an episode of Darknet from 2013, which was written by James Key, who also wrote the Krampus in the Woods storyline of A Christmas Horror Story. That's cool.
That's funny.
And then the Aunt's butler, Gerard, portrayed by Julian Richings, also plays Death in Supernatural. That's why he looked familiar. I knew I saw the guy in Supernatural before. Yeah.
So now we know.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's my super short show.
Yep.
I can say that shit's not around anymore.
That's just, I can say that now. I can say it.
I'm pretty certain.
Say it.
I'm pretty certain the copyright's up on that one. Watch them get like a cease and desist letter from Disney.
Like, thanks, Matt. Thanks. Yeah, from Disney.
They
own everything.
They own everything. There's just gonna be like 3 men in suits with glasses at the
Mickey
front door.
Mouse
Exactly.
ears.
Yeah. Oh, sir, do you have a minute to talk? Like, because Mick, that's what Mickey says, but they have to say it as serious tone.
Yeah. They're like, no, I really don't have. Well, gosh, sir, you better make some time.
Well, gosh, sir, may we come in?
Because be like, a yuck. Don't make this any yucking harder than it has to be. It's just.
Just look at him. Do you have to say the noises that they make? And they say, yes, we do, sir. And I was like, but aren't you like trained killers? And they're like, sir, it's Disney. I'm like, okay.
All right. I guess you can come in.
It's like the CIA and then Disney. Like on the scale of like who's on top. Of who controls the world. I like how I think the CIA controls the world. It's like the Illuminati and then Disney. Like the Illuminati actually takes orders from Disney.
Probably, honestly. Like, Disney owns everything, so they more than likely own the Illuminati.
Yeah, you know, I'd probably just like really start turning the wheels for either for Carson to talk about on Conspiracy Theater podcast, plug into a show for him, and then also for like people who like are really into the Illuminati conspiracies too. So yeah, that was cool.
I bet that was.
That was radio, daddy-o.
Dad, stop that.
I should make slogans.
That's not.
You're probably right.
Not say you did.
Okay. So, mine, the movie I decided to do was called it was based off the urban legend of
Sinterklaas,
which is basically evil Santa, not like Krampus, but I'll explain. So the movie is called Sint. It's a Dutch film, but for the Americas and where we speak the English, it is Saint. And I really tripped over myself so bad.
Yeah, you said Sint, and I was like, Saint.
You know, man, it's one of those nights where it's getting late again, and so I was like, I should shut up, but I can't shut up. I'm like a car crash. Like, it just has to happen.
Just let it happen.
You just gotta, boom, man. So, the movie's called Saint. It came out in 2010. It's a horror film that depicts Saint Nicholas as a murderous bishop who kidnaps and murders children when there is a full moon on December 5th. So I am going to try to say the director's name without laughing because, well, I don't know if it's on purpose or not, but the director is Dick Moss. So I'm gonna get
Moss means more.
Yeah, so I'm
Dick
gonna get the joke out of the way. It means
Dick
more
more,
dick,
yeah.
more dick.
More dick, yeah.
Also,
Moss,
since it's a movie centered around Christmas time, it just Dick Miss made a Christmas movie. Dick Miss Christmas. It's a Christmassy Dick Miss. It's a Dick Missy Christmas.
Yeah.
There. The jokes are out of the way. I can continue. So, directed by Dick Moss, or written by Dick Moss, it stars Egbert John Weber, Bert Lupus, and Carl Lindson. So, yeah, I am so happy with myself. I actually didn't think I was going to do that right at all for any of those names. So,
it's Weber.
It's Weber.
Egbert Jan Weber.
Weber. Did I fuck it up, actually?
He said Weber.
Isn't it Weber?
Weber.
Fuck. I did fuck it up.
Germans pronounce their W's like V's.
Well, fuck me, man. I'm sorry. I'm doing the best I can. I showed up. I'm good at 110%, okay? Just cut me some slack.
Okay.
So yeah, I mean...
That's like a V, that's all. Goddamn.
I'm just trying to help out. So this movie opens up to telling you the story about how St. Nicholas became evil urban legend monster that comes out on December 5th every 32 years and shows him going through this village with him and his Black Peters jumping down the chimneys to kidnap and kill children. Well, I don't think they kidnap them. I think they only just kill them. So like they kill them and they're killing families, and it's like this over the top, just like scene to set up why Nicholas is an evil person. So anyways, kind of in the same like realm of like fucking Nightmare on Elm Street with Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
Where like he's going on this killing spree, and then the parents, hunt him down and kill him and all his Black Peters, and they just murder them, thus causing the curse for St. Nicholas to come back every 32 years to continue his work. So when this happens, he comes back again and kills a family in the mid, I think it's like what, the early, probably like 70s?
Something like that.
70s or 80s, I would say, like somewhere around that time, maybe even like the 60s. Thus traumatizing a kid who is witness to his family being slaughtered in front of him, grows up to work on the police force, and grows an unhealthy obsession of wanting to hunt down St. Nicholas. As this opens up, we're introduced to our heroes, which are, these college kids. And, well, I'm guessing it's college. I'm calling it for what it is. I don't know what they call it in Germany, or if they even call it anything else, really. So, like, again.
University, yeah.
Ein University.
Yeah.
Schneiser.
Scheiße. Schnitzel.
So anyways, as we're introduced to these characters, I mean, I'm not going to really spend too much time of it because it's the same kind of like college kid introduction you would be expecting of any kind of slasher-esque type of movie.
Yeah.
And so, you get introduced to the hot girl who's, the cliche bitch, breaks up with the guy who she kind of just like does it in a very, rude manner, does it in front of the classroom, yada, 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 so on and so forth. And he has a relationship with her best friend who's nicer. There, you're kind of like caught up. That part I didn't really care for, man. Like, it doesn't really hurt the movie. Like, it's not too long. I actually think it's a pro because it only just kind of like it only spends as much time as the movie needs to on it. It doesn't like go overboard trying to get you into these complex issues to make you care about the characters.
Yeah.
So and that's kind of like a pro, man, that I love about it, is that it does not take long to get into the action of the film. Like, it actually starts fairly like early on, like before even the halfway point, to where we're introduced to Frank, who's our protagonist, and he is going out to celebrate St. Nicholas, which is December 5th, yada. And so he dresses up as St. Nicholas and his friends, which I'm going to like heavily warn everyone now. So they dress up in blackface, but I'm not justifying it, I'm explaining it. But the reason their faces are black is because like Black Peter is called Black Peter because their faces are like covered with
soot.
Ash and soot from the fire burning because they go down the chimney.
Yeah.
But his friends drew it in a very, which I don't know if like this is like the thing over there and that's okay, but I'm just saying like it's very offensive because like they're black-faced with red lips.
Yeah.
So like I don't know.
There's actually a lot of controversy about Black Peter in general because they do that.
And I was gonna also touch on that too.
Yeah, like just in general, there's a lot of controversy because Black Peter has the black face and he's not black.
Yeah,
like it is a white man with black face, and and like some people, like you said, are trying to justify it because it's not him being black; it's just him covered in the soot and dirt and grime because he follows. He goes
down the chimney.
Yeah, he goes down the chimney and follows like Bell Schnickel and all them with beating the kids and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's still like, well, you don't have to make him black face,
Right.
You don't have to make him
so
black
I
face.
mean, it's just like kind of a heavy warning. You can skip that scene if you want. I will recommend you don't, only to the fact that they do get slaughtered.
Yeah, if it helps, the racists die.
Yeah, like the racists do, they get fucked up pretty bad. So like. But I mean, like, pretty bad in a good way. And so, it also is the thing I want to touch on. This movie is a solid, like, 4 out of 5 buckets of, like, gore. Like, solid out. It starts out pretty, like, kind of sparse in the beginning, but when the movie picks up near the middle, especially towards the end, it definitely gets more over the top with its gore, and I love it for that.
Yeah, it does.
But, like, one of the guys that's dressed up in blackface gets, like, it's not a scythe. No, it is a scythe. A scythe, like, shoved through the back of his head, through his mouth.
Yeah, that seems dope.
And so, like, and it's done really well. Like, you don't actually see it coming. And so it's, like, kind of like, just like a, kind of like...
Oh, he's dead. Holy shit.
Yeah, sweet, good. And so, like, yeah, anyways. As they're trying to go to this party, they get attacked, and thus when the scene happens, which I told you about, scythe through the back of the face, blah. Mm-hmm. And so, with that being said, we're introduced to St. Nicholas. He came back. He's coming down to kill everyone under the black, snowy sky. And so our protagonist is trying to get away from him. The cops eventually find him. And what I love about this is that it definitely does not hold back with going over the top with the lore of Sinterklaas.
Yeah.
Especially because, so I'll use, the Krampus movie as an example, how it goes over the top with its lore and really just, dives into it.
Yeah.
I feel this one does a really good job, too, with that.
Oh, yeah.
Because, it has Sinterklaas, running atop the rooftops of, all the houses.
with this fucking
and,
stallion.
Yeah, on one hand, it's
it's
really
so
cheesy
great.
and goofy looking.
Oh,
it
was
really
like
is.
fucking the Dark Knight movie where they're watching, or Batman Begins when they're
Yeah.
watching the fucking tank
Yeah.
go across the rooftops. That's how it felt like it, but it was in small town.
Oh no,
old
that is
town
Dark Knight.
No, I know, but for this one, it was Batman Begins.
Oh,
When
either
they're
way, it doesn't
first
matter.
chasing him. Yeah, but in this one instead, it's fucking old town, small town, fucking Germany with all the cobblestone pathways and bullshit roofs, and there's a fucking horse with a zombified Santa Claus just running across.
Well, the horse is
rooftops.
also zombified too, but it's just such a goofy ass scene that you kind
it's so
of can't help
great.
but love it. And what I love about that is just like you can tell when it's CG, but it's kind of it's kind of like Sharknado in the fact that it's so ridiculous you kind of enjoy it. And so what I love about it as well is that this movie is realistic with its scenes. So the cops, after interrogating Frank, our protagonist, about what happened to his friends, they get the call about St. Nicholas running on top of the rooftops, and they're chasing him via a police car. And so one of the officers just pokes his head out with his gun. And right before he does that, his partner is just you can't do that. That's St. Nicholas.
Oh yeah.
And he just looks at him. He's just I don't give a shit.
Yeah, you fucking dumb.
And so
It's murdering people.
And so I love that. I'm yeah, awesome. Cops in a horror movie that aren't fucking dumbasses. Yeah, so he actually shoots him and shoots the horse in the neck. And then it's this fucking dumb scene where the horse falls through a roof, and there's this gay couple who's just I thought we weren't celebrating St. Nicholas this year.
Yeah.
And then their house caves in, and the horse just plops right onto the cop car, and it's the funniest fucking scene. And for a movie that's supposed to be so dark with its slasher stuff, that scene is so goddamn comical and funny. It's like a
So
Benny
great.
Hill skit.
It's so great. I like how it kills two shithead cops too. They were just talking shit the entire time. And just fucking the horse falls on top of both of them. It's
Just such a fucking good scene. So as the movie plays out, eventually our hero Frank is met back up with Gort, and this is the guy who I mentioned earlier in the movie, who when he was a kid was traumatized by St. Nicholas killing his whole family. Now he has a vendetta, and so they team up to go and kill St. Nicholas. He saves Frank at that point after the horse collapses on the car by shooting fire at St. Nicholas, and he's just you can't any other supernatural horror monster, and the guy that knows everything about him just knows that they don't like fire.
Yeah.
I feel that should just be a general rule. Nothing likes fire.
pretty much.
I feel unless you see a legit demon rise up
From fire.
then I feel anything is bad. Does not like fire. I can even say ghosts maybe don't like fire because if you burn the house down that they're haunting, you kind of win, right?
If their remains are in the wall, doesn't that cleanse them?
Yeah. So especially if it's holy fire, which whatever, that's a different thing entirely. So, anyway, so the movie, and that's kind of the rest of the movie at that point. We see Frank and St. Nicholas trying to, or Frank and Gort trying to hunt down and lure out St. Nicholas in order to kill him. And also, they're getting hunted down as well by the police force, because Gort is basically just kind of he's basically AWOL at this point. He's not supposed to be out, so the police are trying to bring him in, so on and so forth. And so we're taking on this awesome adventure of the Black Peters, which the actual Black Peters that are the monsters in the movie don't look offensive at all.
No, because they're demons and they're dead.
Yeah, they're dead. Like, they're actually charred. Like, their faces are charred, so it goes with them being called Black Peters, because, well, their face is charred.
Yeah.
It's not blackface. They don't have, like, red lips.
I also like how when they finally killed the first one, they're like, yeah, we killed a Black Peter. And it just, but I was just like, I was waiting for someone to stop and, like, look at it and go, how the fuck do you know what that is? Like, what do you mean that's a Black Peter? It's a fucking zombie. Like,
Right.
How do you know what that is? And like, just hear him go, I'm really into folklore, all right?
I just don't like it. Yeah, okay. We live in a really boring village.
I killed it, okay? I killed it. That's all that I wanted to say.
The only thing we got going on is ships and trains. There's also that in the movie if you're a ship and train fan, I guess.
Yep, a lot of ships and trains.
But so, like, you know, man, and that is like part of the reason why I love it, is because when it's over the top, like, because St. Nicholas comes in onto his ship, he like completely like piles through like a police boat, and it's just over the top with that too. And so, like, you know, eventually the movie ends with it's not a major spoiler because it does follow very traditional slasher conventions of how they get rid of the monster, or even creature feature-esque type of stuff.
Yeah.
Or how they get rid of it. So obviously they beat St. Nicholas. You know, it's not a surprise. They do it by blowing up his ship. And so it's not a major spoiler because it's not the ending that makes this movie, it's the whole ride that does. Yeah. Because, like, it is an actual fun holiday movie, and what I love about it is that I feel it's a taste break from, like, what I feel a lot of holiday movies do. So obviously, you know, like, I feel like a lot of holiday movies kind of follow the same, like, slasher breaking into a home kind of vibe.
Like, and not just that. I feel like it's that, and it's also shitting, and it's also like almost every holiday horror movie takes a jab at like socialism, capitalism, and stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like the capitalistic nature of like, you must buy the gifts, and the greedy are going to be the ones who get punished this season by this slasher.
Right.
Like, it was kind of nice not having that undertone with this movie.
Right.
You know what I mean?
And, well, like, I don't mean to sound like a hypocrite, because I basically made the case for that type of movie, like, the last Friday episode we did.
Yeah, I know.
Better Watch Out. But and those movies are still fantastic. They're great.
Yeah.
Without a doubt. No question. But this is just why I love this one, though. It's just a nice change of pace. It's a good holiday horror movie. It's definitely a fun ride. If you can find the dubbed version, I definitely recommend the dubbed version, although the subtitle is not too bad. I watched the subtitle one. You can watch it on Hulu right now, and I think you actually can also rent it on Amazon for $3.99 right now. But it's Saint is an awesome movie. It came out in 2010, and it's definitely a good foreign holiday horror flick, and I strongly recommend you check it out. You're definitely not going to be let down. It's going to be an interesting ride, and I think you're going to have something to talk about with your friends the next day once you do. But yeah, that's my case for it. I'm going to go ahead and quickly read a few interesting facts. I don't know why I said two. I'm only going to read two. Just going to do two. It's only worth two.
It would have been best if there was only two facts. Like, that would have been great. Like, well, yeah, I'm only reading two.
Well, I guess I am.
Who's the
liar?
I can see the future.
So, when Sophie's flipping through the TV channels, she stops at a Santa Claus-themed episode of the series, Flodder, which came out in 1993, which was based on a movie of the same name. Dick Moss created the movie, its two sequels, and the series that was derived from it. John Flodder was played in the first two movies by Hoob Staple, and the same actor who plays Nicholas in Saint Johnny Flodder in the series footage. However, is the late Cohen Van. I'm not even going to try the rest of it. I'm not even going to try that one. But another famous sorry. Exactly. It was that. On January 4, 2011, the movie poster was awarded the TV Krant Film Poster Award of 2010. The annual Dutch Award for Best Cinema Poster of the Year, as voted for by the Dutch audience. See, I told you it was a Dutch movie.
I didn't say it wasn't.
I know, but I told you. But
okay.
I'm just saying I told you.
Great. I know.
I told you.
I know.
It's a Dutch movie.
I agreed.
Okay.
Cool. Upon release, the movie poster proved to be very controversial. Various organizations of concerned parents tried to boycott the poster, which features an image of a zombie Saint Nicholas, as opposed to the friendly Saint Nicholas the people in the Netherlands are used to. Dutch director John Hughes became the spokesperson for the movement that tried to boycott the poster, and he even went to court, claiming the poster would damage the festive season and cause trauma with young children. In hindsight, the complaints by John Nehemos or whatever about the movie being inappropriate for young children seem to have been part of the publicity campaign.
Last one. Some scenes with the horse running on the rooftops were shot at a clinic in Utrecht, where the movement of horses is studied. They have a treadmill at the Faculty for Animal Health. So I guess it's accurate of how a horse would run on a rooftop. I don't know, man.
I don't know.
I just think that's kind of cool.
I just thought it was a cool scene.
I didn't know that was a thing.
Yep.
I didn't think that was a thing that people studied. Now I know that.
Guess so.
So now I learned more things about horses.
Yeah.
And nay, I say, I'm better for it.
God damn it. Really? We're going to end the year with a fucking horse pun?
Yeah, goddamn right I am.
God damn it.
What? I just see you always clopping around here with your cold opens.
For all things Punk Rock Horror Podcast.
Make sure to follow us on Facebook, search the Punk Rock Horror Podcast, or on Twitter at officialPRHP. Give us a good nay, or on
fucking Instagram.
You can also
hashtag punk rock horror punk rock at Punk Rock Horror Podcast, hashtag PRHP Podcast. Give us all those long face selfies.
We're also I also have my own Instagram at the Undead Matt. If you want to follow me, you can see the things I do in my day-to-day life every now and then.
See him trot around town.
Nay, I say, explore the sights. I just liked that one. I wanted to use it again. I didn't care if it was bad that time. I didn't care if it was worse. If you want to consider supporting the show, please consider going over to our Patreon, patreon.com/punkrockhorrorpodcast. In January, we are unveiling out our mystery boxes. We're going to be sending them to all of our $8 patrons. Everyone will be getting a mystery box with a personal thank you note from us. All signed and sealed. You will get a mystery horror movie that we reviewed on a prior episode of the show that we guarantee you're gonna love, along with a cool little knickknacks here and there. It's a box you're definitely gonna want. It's the Punk Rock Horror Podcast mystery box. And also, even for just $2 a month, you get access to the Punk Rock Half Hour Power, hosted by Lala and Gwynny, where they continue all the conversations that we start off with on our Monday episodes, and also narrate some cool scary stories. And also, you please make sure that you tune into the Paranormal Princess podcast, hosted by Aaron McGarry, who dives into everything and anything in the paranormal field.
You almost said porn.
In the paranormal field. It's ghost porn.
It's all about the ghosts inside those hoo-has.
God, I wish she was here to help make that joke. But anyways, make sure you check her out because she talks about everything in the field of paranormal research and gives her cool perspectives about it. With that being said, last thing I want to say is I want to give a huge shout out to all of you amazing ghouls, gals, and creeps and mutants for the ride of 2019. Thank you for sticking with us. Thank you for supporting us. Thank you for continuing listening to us and supporting us and, telling your family and friends about us. It means the living world to us, and we can't wait to come back in January 2020 and knock some shit out. I don't know why I said 2020 to be specific. Like, people are going to be like, oh, did they mean 2021 or 2022?
Are they just... Oh, they're going to come back in January 2017. They're going back in time.
And the very last thing I wanted to say and give a big shout out is to my awesome co-host, Cody. Thank you, buddy, for another awesome year of horror. Thank you for, pushing me to do better. And thank you for being my best friend.
Thank you, sir.
Should we kiss now?
No.
Would it be weird?
Get away from me.
All right, everyone. Ghouls, gals, creeps, and mutants alike. We will see you in the new year.
Bye.
Bye.